quick question.
Yes.
Did you change the fashion industry, or the modeling industry?
No, I never went far enough. They wanted me to stay. They wanted me to put it in the curriculum, and then that was an area of trying all these things on as an individual. I found out I'm not a politician. I do not do paperwork, etc., etc. And so I left as it was and went on to my next challenge. Because, you know, we only have so much time on this planet. And I think when we're young, we think we've got forever. And we don't. And now that I'm 68 years old, I know that's true. And but to me, my life is an experience, an experiment, but I need to be connected to what it is that I'm doing, even if it's something that's not very positive. I've done quite some things in my life. Some wonderful, some not wonderful at all, and it taught me who I am. But I have no regrets at 68. I have no stone unturned that I look back and go, why didn't I do that then? And I'm an individual. I'm Diana, and that's what I worked through, all of that getting to know myself and breaking the cycle of abuse. I had to learn how to say thank you, but no thank you. Opportunities, I think, are not always good opportunities. I think even if something sounds fantastic, if you really go deep in yourself instead of just jumping in with all force and finding out this doesn't feel right for me. I mean, that does happen. We have to take risks. I certainly did.
What are some of the risks you took?
Well,
I hope you don't mind. I just keep. I'm really
no,
interested in the details of it because
you need to
you
ask
kind of
because I don't know where to go. I get overwhelmed with it all.
Yes,
but,
yes.
You know, I've lived quite a diverse life.
Right. So, can you give me some examples of some of the risks that you've taken?
I married 5 times.
Wow.
And I found out later that I was working out my dad. It almost seems to me as though it's backwards at some level because children have children. I was still a child. I was 20 when I had my first son. I was a good mother, a good wife and housekeeper. However, when I look back, I would never do that again, ever. I wouldn't even marry ever again. For so many very, I think, grounded and practical reasons. I don't think we have, as human beings, developed far enough along to know how to graciously, on a long-term basis, live so close to each other. It's hard work. It takes forever to get to know somebody. It takes forever to get to know yourself. It's an ongoing thing, and I think that all of us, we are animals after all. It's is that there's so many layers and levels of our intelligence or lack of, that things look pretty exciting and good in the honeymoon stage, but once things slow down and you get real and you have a daily thing, I mean, I know I love it now because I don't have to worry about what time I eat or when I go to bed, and I don't want to annoy another person with the same thing for them. Right. I want all the good stuff for others as I want for myself, and I took a lot of risks with breaking the code of abuse in my family. They say it takes 5 generations before it actually gets right through these, 20-year periods of having your children. Like, my sons are in their 40s now, and one of them's got 4 children. So they're going to be much different than my children were. My children still haven't really, I don't think, I haven't talked to them in 20 years because they will not continue a relationship with me due to the fact that they fell into the footsteps of my mother, who was very controlling. She dangled money in front of them instead of a safe place to talk and be who you really are. My boys always told me that they knew they could talk to me about anything. But when I was in my 30s and I decided to be more than just a mother and more than just a wife, they didn't want that. And so now they've got their children, and we'll see what happens. I might not get to see it, but they say it does take that long to have these cycles broken. And I think people live in tremendous fear of dealing with anything that's different. They would almost, I don't know how to put it as an example other than to say that they'd rather stay in the mucky old mud, and because it's familiar, than they would to put a little bit of themselves into a fresh pool of water that might feel wonderful if they dared to try it.
Right.
So patterns, as you know, are so hard to break. And I do think I used to live in fear, and I did with my disease right up until I had worked through my issues. I worked through abuse. By the time I was 51, I was on my deathbed. So I had a good 20 years of really working hard and trying all kinds of different things in the world. But not with the consciousness of, oh, everybody else is doing this, this, and this. It was with the consciousness that I need to do this.
Right.
And sometimes I knew why and did it anyway, and then found out more about myself. And so it was peeling all those layers back. And then as I was dying, not knowingly at the same time, I'd go into remission, I'd be okay, and then I would fall again. And by 51 years old, I was in Harborview Medical Center on the floor. And I was 80 pounds and brain dead, just about brain dead.
Wow.
This disease is never talked about. People don't ask about it, and I have been left permanently damaged with central nervous system disorder. But it's a disease of starvation.
Okay, and what's the disease called again?
Pernicious anemia.
Pernicious
and
anemia.
What I don't have is that I ate all the cells up in my small intestine. Therefore, what they call it is that the cells have been eaten up, and that's intrinsic factor, which I don't have anymore. The cells ate themselves up. That is a part of the body they do not grow back in, and all it was to check my B12 levels, and they could have pumped me in with B12,
Right.
but it went on for so long that I was near death. I knew I didn't want to die yet, but I also was ready to die. I don't let doctors do just anything they want to me and with me. But funnily enough, I guess I wasn't supposed to leave the planet because there was that feeling of I'm not finished yet, but I was in so much pain. It was just, and I cried all the time, and because it affects your brain as well.
Oh.
Your brain is starving as well.
Sure.
Yeah, so eventually got long needles of B12 pumped into me, and I was like starting a car. It was like jump starting a car.
Wow.
And then I have a sentence for the rest of my life of I have to have a B12 shot every 30 days to stay alive.
Wow.
And I have permanent central nervous system damage, which how it affects me is our brain is like a computer, I think, and what is it? Because I'm not very computer savvy, but when it downloads or it crashes, well, that's what happens to me. And if I get too much stimulus, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, if it's too much noise, if it's nonsense. So all that stuff, it's, again, I take negative things and turn them into positive. And to me, wow, this was great because I became a painter. And you need a lot of quiet, a lot of solitude, which I love anyways, because there's, to me, a whole world on the other side of silence, if that makes any sense. There is. It's just, it's fantastic.
Once
and
you
I'm
cut
creating.
out the chatter,
That's
there's a
right.
whole other line
Thank
that you can...
Yes, exactly. And I create. I mean, I think that's where it can get kind of sad. I mean, a true artist has to paint, has to do music, or whatever it is that they're doing. Some people dabble and have fun at it. No, it's not what I would call fun. It is a complete experience, the good, the not good. I have no illusions about it. I didn't become a painter and a fiber artist and a pianist and a dancer to make money. I do it because it keeps me alive. My soul, my heart, and I don't do anything anymore. When I found my peace, when I got away from what the world wanted me to become, and I became the real Diana, I have never been happier. And that's 17 years now of all the inner work, the questioning, and it is hard work. People say, oh, it's so easy for you, Diana, and I say no. They'll say, oh, you're so lucky. I say no. I say, anything you want to do that makes a difference to yourself, to others, to the world, and we certainly need a lot of that for the world. It's, I think, in a worse state than it was when I was younger. I say, no, I don't really have a lot of hope. I don't like illusions. I don't like to say pretty words to kind of cover up something. And so, no, I'm very saddened by what's happening. I don't think government and churches and most all things take care of what's really important, which is people.
Yes.
All people. Things, we don't own them. We don't own people. And yet our society is built that way. And it's about money. You're not valued unless you have money. I don't have any money. I also don't have any debt because I won't fall into that place of doing what most people are doing because they think they should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Says who? And that's what I used to say to my mom. Would she say, but the priest said so, or, you know, the doctor said so. And I'd say, but they're just people.
Yeah. How did she react to that?
Oh, not well. No, not at all, no. And they never reacted. They abandoned me completely once I became my own person. I was 19 when I started to get hate letters from my parents saying, how dare you go to another city, get a good job, pay your rent, be happy, which I loved my job. I was working at the Manitoba Theatre Centre in Winnipeg as a script typist and whatnot for a stage director back then. Loved what I was doing, and they got these letters, and I'm going, who are these people? I've never thought that way about anybody in my life. It would be, well, aren't you just this successful little person at 19?